Whoa! We are back.
We are back.
Back, it's baby. Crazy.
That's it.
Still in the studio. Still with the equipment.
That's it.
So if the audio quality is a little weird, that's my fault. I just got the Rodecaster Pro. Shout out to Rodecaster Pro. Mm-hmm. Even though I paid for it, I love this product so much.
But if you want to sponsor us, Rode, please.
Yeah, please do. Blue Yeti, if you want to sponsor us.
Yeah.
ATEM, right?
Blackmagic.
Blackmagic, if you want to sponsor us.
Feel free. Just shoot us an email.
So if there's like audio things, I'm still learning how to play with this thing. So if I fade it out too quick, I'm sorry. Or if we sound too metallic, I apologize. But you know what? You're listening to us anyway. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. You guys are awesome. So today we are back, and we actually have a really cool episode because we're going to talk about content creation. Mm-hmm. This is going to be kind of unstructured. It's only going to be 15 minutes. When we come back from break, we'll have Chris on for another little while. Okay, mm-hmm. So it should be a little bit of a shorter episode today.
Yep.
But here is the thing. Content creation. Why is it important? And let's talk about that today, right? Let's talk about why is content creation.
I think we should have the expert go first.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like content creation is very fun, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It's really like it's a form of art. Many people may not see that, but in my opinion, I feel like it is because it's a way to express yourself and a way to do stuff that you enjoy doing. Okay. And we see this with what we're doing right now.
Yeah,
of course. Like we've been doing this podcast for like 3 months right now.
Yeah,
3 months.
Almost 4 months. Bit. No, 4 months. Yeah. We started in December.
That's right. Yeah. So like we already see this being done with our group and getting this podcast started and really kind of build our channel and our viewership. So I feel like it's something that people can desire doing and to either put their word out or really do whatever they want.
Yeah. So I do have a question for both of you guys, but I'm gonna start. Actually, we'll start with you, Matt. Okay. I'll give you a chance to start. What indecisive? Again, this is totally unstructured, but I think it's a fun and a good episode to talk about. Why do you think it's important for someone to even try to create content? Like, for example, for us, why do you think it was important for us to do this? Is there merit in this?
I do think that there is. I mean, each of us have our own strengths or skills, our weaknesses. Mine are, I'm very good at talking. I can go on for hours at talking. They know this. You guys.
Very true.
Yeah.
But I think we all can. So.
Yeah, we all can. But, my strategy for content creation is adding a sense of humor to things. You guys already know this from watching the past episodes. I crack probably the most jokes.
And your interview.
Yeah,
that's very true.
God. Yeah, I rewatched that. That was content creation in itself. That was a masterpiece.
Oh my god.
But no, I think it's a way that, like Chad said, it's a way of expressing yourself, and it's important for you to do that. Because then you're kind of showing your true self rather than hiding it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. People judge you based off of who you are, and you want them to see who you are really. Mm-hmm. A great form of that is actually content creation, because then you're seeing someone in their natural element, just not caring what other people think, but having fun with it, and that's the most important part of content creation is just having fun with it.
I know. I feel like that kind of was one of the reasons why we started this podcast. Like one of the reasons why we're doing this is to have fun.
Yeah.
And that I would say that's one of the main reasons is just to have fun.
Yeah. I literally told you guys I'm coming on to have fun, even if it's a serious topic.
That's it, right? Yeah.
So
sorry if it's serious, but it's not gonna be serious when you take it with me.
So, Chad. So in your interview, and I'm not trying to harp back on it, but we've talked about kind of what you want to do, what you went to school for, and you really are a content creator, right? Mm-hmm. So, again, in this broad sense, why do you think it's important for someone to create content?
I mean, I know we said this, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I feel like it's a way for someone to express themselves. Mm-hmm. Either the content creation, there are so many things that you can do. Yeah. Like you've seen on YouTube, there are like things from like cooking videos to tutorials to tech videos or sports. So there's really a large spectrum for and dynamic that people can get involved with. And so not necessarily on like either film or TV, but like either content on YouTube or streaming or podcasts or things like that.
Okay, cool. So we talked about why it's important to do so, and at the end of the day, it was like it's fun, and also it's sharing a little bit about yourself, and that's important stuff, right? And that's awesome. I think that's really where we're kind of coming from.
Let's ask the creator of this show. Why do you think it's important? You're the one that started this.
I mean, let's talk about it if it's okay. I mean, for me, and it's not just this, right? And content creation can be making podcasts, making videos, can be writing papers, can be whatever it may be. You know what I mean? For me, his phone is vibrating in his pocket, and we just broke. I'm so sorry.
We're done.
We're done. All right. Thanks so much for watching the video.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. We were disrupted by a phone.
That is hilarious. No, it's funny, dude.
We should have let it ring. Don't need to go over
The
there.
funniest part is he was even like, make sure that you have your phone on mute.
I don't know if they can hear that, but we definitely
I don't know if you guys can, but that's hilarious. Anyway, we'll continue with the show. For me, it's like I write papers and I do this, and for me, it was really why is it important? And
It's still going.
It's still going.
Why is there value?
Is
Why
it
should
FaceTime or something?
I have no idea. But why should our voice be heard? Why does anyone care? And at the end of the day, we could help at least one person, right? We can make a difference.
Helping someone right now.
Why don't we take a quick break here? And,
Why don't we go take a quick break so we can figure out what's going on?
This is hilarious. Anyway.
So it doesn't sound like that again.
All right. Wow, we played the whole song right there. Are we back on? Because I've been recording this whole time. Okay,
we're back on.
We're back,
I mean,
baby.
our audio has been recorded.
Okay,
I'm not going to edit that out,
Yeah,
so
me
it's
neither.
totally
Yeah.
fine. But our video, you guys are back with us now, so that is hilarious. It's going to be a little bit of dead space.
I really thought I could get my phone call.
I know. Just oh my gosh! All right, thanks for sticking with us. That was funny. It was funny. I don't know if you guys could even hear it, but we had a
Like we
had a
said,
good
the
laugh.
practical jokers here. This is what happens. This is just
Very
a daily
funny.
thing for
Very,
us.
very entertaining if you guys were here.
Okay, let's jump back into our questions.
Yeah.
In the sense of like, there's something that we wanted to share, and there's a message and a purpose, and why not? There's so many people doing stuff out there. Why can't we be part of that? Even if we're only making a difference in one person. And I see the value in that, right? Even if it's just my mom who listens to it, man. I mean, maybe she learns something
From us.
or at least realizes a different point of view of looking at something. And that, I think, is the point of us doing the show. And I think that's the important part about putting out content. Like, why not? You could be helping at least one person. And I think what we're doing is good. I mean, like, we're not just doing, like, obviously there's value to humor and stuff like that, but we're not just, like, doing, like, any old dumb thing, right?
Yeah.
We're doing
You guys
something
are,
with
and I am.
But, I mean, even though, like, we're doing something with a purpose, and that's, I think, what's important.
Yeah, guys, that phone call was totally planned. With a purpose.
But yeah, I mean, anything else that we kind of want to say about content creation? I mean,
We've covered it.
I know that with Chris, we're gonna come back after the break, and I know we're gonna talk about a few different things. Mainly because he is like in the same thing as you, but he's like on the business side. But so I guess I don't want to neglect you, but I think we kind of want to hear from you too. What else do you kind of think about content creation? Is there, what are your just thoughts? Maybe something like, what's a good question to ask you? Like, there's so much out there, right? And it's kind of like saturated. Is there like a fear to like putting out content, or is it like?
I think one of the hardest parts about content creation has to be really what type of content do you want to put out, because it's kind of begs the question on if people are going to watch it, or like, is it going to be interesting enough, or is there going to be enough of an audience to really build that up? So I would say that's like one of the challenges that a lot of people who just want to start off in this field see and or experience.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anything else to add, guys?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. You guys satisfied?
I am very satisfied.
All right. Sounds good. Well, stick with us after the break. We are going to talk about this stuff with Chris. And we have a big announcement at the end, so stay tuned. All right? All right, welcome back again. Just like last episode, you were with the group at the beginning, and now Chris is back with us. So yeah, super excited to have you here, buddy. And we'll make an announcement at the end of the episode. But content creation, man, you are like the perfect person to have on, because we've been talking about this for a long time. But let's start with this. I'll hold the main question at the end, but till the end. So let's throw a beginning kind of question in here. What do you do? What do you do for content creation? Let's start with that. It's kind of a softball, and it'll make you talk about what you do.
So explain content creation. What do you mean by this whole thing? It's a very big sphere here.
Sure, of course. So similar to what we're doing, right? Or even if it's like what you're doing personally or what I do personally, putting out papers, putting out a podcast, putting out a video, even social media, essentially, if it's I'm talking about in a constructed way, right? So it's a constructive, not just posting about your life, but you have a mission to do, right? Whether it be writing a paper, a book, writing a post for Instagram, whatever it is. That's what I mean by content creation. So putting out something with a mission statement kind of thing. Does that kind of narrow in the definition a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So, I mean, there are a lot of people here in the world, and nobody is, sorry, there are experts. I'm no expert in a ton of different things, but I do think that people bring different perspectives, and those perspectives, when all brought together, really make something fantastic. So my goal by sharing is that I could open somebody's mind, their perspective, or I can help them in one form or another. So it's quite telling that this episode came right now, just because for the past 9 months or so, I've really been honing in, okay, how can I grow my personal brand, sharing important information that's helpful to other people, and things along those lines. I actually took a step back for about the past 3 months, actually, excluding the past week or two, because I've kind of been getting back into it. But especially even just yesterday, I was watching a video, and it just explains to you the importance behind sharing your story, especially in today's world. It's not that you need to be an expert in anything, but it's that journey, so especially us as young people, college students, and I have a very big ambitions that I will achieve one day. I think that it's important just to share and to show people, hey, yeah, you might not come from a ton of success or whatever it is, but like, you can get to wherever you want to. Like, I'm living proof of it, So for a couple of different reasons that I just shared, that's the reason why I share content. I hope to make people more informed on things, to improve people's lives, and ultimately improve the world a little bit more.
Oh, sorry, I think my audio cut out for a second. But
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that. This is reminiscent to your interview a little bit, right? We were kind of talking about that. We spent a little bit of time, but here's a question for you, and I think is really important: is when did you kind of start your journey of really producing content, or where did you start even thinking of, this is something I want to do?
Yeah.
Was it back in high school? Was it earlier?
It's been sitting on me for a while. Always I've never been huge on social media. I'm kind of that guy that you see on Instagram, maybe like every 4 months. Oh my gosh, Chris finally posted, So yeah. In regards to like me, my personal life, I don't really share too much, even to this day. I mean, 2 months ago, I posted for the first time, like over a year, So in regards to my personal life, I don't share too much, and it's kind of always been like that. But to answer your question, I've always felt that kind of the sentiment that I just shared with you. Everybody has something valuable to share. some people it's different than others, but I thought that for a while, ever since high school, to answer your question. So there are a lot of different things that actually started in high school, such as, the book about mental health that me and you've been talking about a lot. And ultimately, up until 9 months ago, I just, whether it be I didn't have the guts to do it, you could say, or whatever it is, I just didn't put it out there. There was, I guess, maybe the subconscious fear. Oh no, like I'm not an expert, or people are gonna make fun of it, or whatever it is. And who am I as a teenager to say something, So that whole mindset shift kind of came during COVID as I'm sitting there and I'm like, look, I have a lot to learn. And in the most humble way to say this, like, I'm a pretty smart guy though, like, and it's not just because me, Chris Barrett, came up with it. It's rather, I've been very blessed to be surrounded by some very intelligent and successful people that have taught me a lot.
Yeah.
So instead of like me trying to come up with this mastermind thing, I'm simply just sharing information that was shared to me that I found helpful. So as I was in COVID,
Yeah.
just kind of hanging out at home in quarantine like everyone else was, I was like, you know what? Especially during this time, as people are at home, feeling low, I want to share with people. I want to try to find ways that they can improve themselves and maximize everything that's going on during this pandemic. And that's kind of what I did. I went like balls to the wall. I don't know if that's bad to say on the podcast, but I went
go for
balls to the wall. We're just posting content, just posting. I was LinkedIn monster for months, just meeting people and doing all this stuff. And to me, it just taught me this huge lesson that like the stuff you post, the stuff you think, the stuff you share, if you put the time and effort, like it's valuable, people appreciate it, So I mean, I could get into a whole long conversation like, okay, why do I believe that, or why you, people listening or watching, you should do it too. But ultimately, your information is valuable. So
I think, if I can share my thing too, it's
absolutely,
it's crazy because for me, and I already talked about this a little bit before, but before the break, but for me, it was a little bit different. Like, it wasn't like, I really admire you in the sense of like, you want to share the information that you had, and that's really important. For me, it was almost like more of a creative, fun thing, right? So even when I was little and writing like stories or whatever, and I never ever thought that I would be able to share anything. I just never thought it was good enough or that my voice mattered at all, right?
Mhm.
Going back to what you were saying. And it wasn't until I got published in last April, I think. Wow, that's crazy. It's been a year now. Wow. It wasn't until last year that gave me the confidence to say, you know what? I might not be an expert, but why not? The worst thing is that no one reads it, but it's out there and I've made a name for myself. What harm can come of it? Especially when I'm not sharing any dumb, that might not be the right word, I'm sorry, but like, any useless information. Like, I'm trying to share something that's maybe valuable, maybe just important, factual, right? So this has been awesome because, again, when I started this, it was mostly just fun to do radio at school.
Yeah.
But this has really taken off in the sense of we do have kind of something to say. And why not? When everyone else is doing it around us, why can't we partake in that? And we hope that we grow because instead of, we have to have fun and there has to be entertainment in the world. But I hope that this is entertaining as much as it is also involving the audience in our conversation and helpful in starting conversation. And that's why I think I do this. Not only do I write papers because I love it and I want to make a name for myself, and that's the reason why I want to do that, or writing a book, right? Because I want to share what is in here with other people. But this really, I think, is the outlet that I love maybe even the most, just because it gives me the freedom to talk about everything and anything that I find kind of important and that the team finds important.
Oh, and the thing is like we talked about in the last episode, with global warming and such, one of the most important things in first solving problems, okay? The very first step is identifying that's a problem, okay, and bringing awareness to it. Right. So the thing is that if nobody's talking about these things, but yet it's in your mind, you're doing the world a disservice. Right. By not sharing that, by not bringing people to the knowledge or like bringing them the understanding that this is actually a problem.
Yeah.
So I actually haven't had the chance to read it, but as you were talking, it just popped in my mind. So I was actually just recommended to read this book. It's titled Show Your Work by Austin Kleon.
Okay.
And
Show Your Work by Austin Kleon?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So, and basically what it describes from the person that shared with me, and I'll read it too, and maybe we could get back to whether I gave the thumbs up or thumbs down, but it's from a person that I do respect. So I do trust it. It basically explains like, okay, you can go throughout your entire life just being passive,
right?
You know, and just kind of listening to everything. But the hard part is most of the people that have regrets on their deathbed is just having something up here and not sharing with people. Okay, what's the worst thing someone's gonna tell you? Oh, it's stupid. Yo, who cares if they tell you it's stupid, right? You know, you're not gonna be for everyone. That there's no doubt about that. And when you put yourself out there, just have the understanding, hey, that's gonna happen. But realize by you putting it out there, okay, your aim is to help someone else, right? By sharing something, Daniel?
Yeah, of course.
So the thing is, if our aim is to help someone, okay, if we can help one person, that's all. Okay, it would be worth it in the end, right?
Yeah, of course.
So that being said, there's millions and millions and millions of people out there. Put it there, and I can guarantee you that you will change one person's life. You know?
I would even go as far as saying is, and even an episode that at this point, I'm not sure if we've released yet, but we have recorded it, a COVID-19 talk where we had David Brown and Jordan Vaughn come on. Maybe that didn't help anyone, but I know it helped me. And that was a great conversation because I think amongst us, we learned something different. And I'm in the field of psychology and I know those people, right? But it's something, there's always something new to talk about. So I would even go as far to say is it even helps us here on the team, right? Yeah.
And the thing is, if everyone was doing that, think about just the exponential effect that would have. You know, obviously, we're in an age of information in the sense, I don't know if overload is the right, but there's so much information flying around, so it is difficult to try to cipher through everything. But regardless, your voice is helpful, and like Daniel said, it could even just be extremely insightful to you and teach you something that will improve the way you think, the way you see things, whatever it may be.
Yeah. There's two things I actually want to talk about.
Yes.
The first thing is, well, not the first thing, but one idea is saturation and information and out there. And I'm gonna hold that till the end. But the question I really want to ask is this idea of kind of the mentality, right? And this goes back to this echoes back to our first episode, right? I kind of lost my question, but here's a new one that I kind of just thought of right now. Is again mentality of why do we think that our voices shouldn't be heard? Or what kind of stops us from saying, even for me, for example, my writing is not worth being read, to it should be read, and or at least I should put it out there. What do you think is the difference in that mentality, and why do so many of us think we're not worth it?
Survival.
Yeah.
What's that, right? Think about it. As human beings, we have a natural tendency to do whatever makes us survive. Right. There's a lot of different roads you can go down. It's okay, finding that pretty girl, because I don't know if this is weird to say, but like ultimately it's like, oh, this person matches together. We have this affinity. We can go ahead and have children, eventually procreate to go ahead and like survive my family, right?
Yeah, the monkey brain inside of all of us, right?
Exactly. And it's crazy to think, but this is the subconscious mind, the way that naturally humans are wired. Okay, so kind of taking that whole thing right there and putting it into this topic. When somebody tells you, okay, in the past, when someone thought you were stupid or whatever it may be, what it used to be is that you were excluded from the herd, right?
Right.
Everyone was, in a sense, like programmed. You want to be in the herd. The reason being is because in the past, when it was like survival and like to kill, to eat, and to do all that,
right.
Tough. You needed to be in that herd to have the best chances of survival.
Yeah.
But we're talking hundreds, if not even thousands of years ago. This is the mentality that the human brain has. Yeah. So the thing is that sticking out, being alone is something that is not natural to the human brain. So that kind of explains why majority of people go ahead and have this mindset. Now we're at a point in human evolution where that's not a problem anymore. So us being alone, that's actually kind of good, you know? One of my favorite quotes, okay, is by Mark Twain, okay? And I'm going to pull it up right now.
It's a treasure trove.
What is it?
He's a treasure trove of just great sayings, man.
Exactly.
Not just great sayings, but just like actual like important things. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And call this whatever you may want. Basically, Twain's quote said, whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect. Not saying that it's a bad thing, but it's something to pause and reflect.
No, that's a very apt saying, right? Because again, like just like you're saying, it's not bad to be part of the majority, but you should reflect on why you're being part of that. Are you going along with group thinking? And that brings a whole bunch of psychological, is it social loafing, right? Or have you really come to that decision by yourself?
100%.
That's very important. Yeah.
And think about any of the world's top innovators. I don't know. Look, you may just be like, hey, I'm an average person. I just want to make a little bit of difference. I don't want to like change my life completely to do it. For me, like I want to be like one of those like world innovators that like change the world for the better. So I have a different thing. But look at it. The people like an Elon Musk, a Jeff Bezos, a Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Okay? These people aren't the ones that go along with the majority. Okay, they're the people that stand out. They're the people that challenge societal norms to say, hey, this can be done better. We can do this better.
Right.
You know, which just improves the world as a whole. Okay, so tying this back all the way to the question that you asked. Okay, why is this a problem within like our minds? Why do people have difficulty with this? It's survival. Okay, that is what it is. And my response to it, taking a step further, okay, why you should look, if you're sharing stuff, I would hope that it's in something to improve the world.
Right.
Okay? Know that if you're wanting to help the world in one way, form, or another, just simply help one person, it's not always that you're going to be a part of the majority.
Right.
And you have to be okay with that. I know obviously human evolution, the brain like is wired not to do that, but that's kind of what you have to do.
Yeah.
And the question then is, okay, what is more important to you? Okay, being a part of the majority, not being criticized, not being any of that, or helping people. Okay, for
safety
me,
versus go-gettingness, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah, well, and when you break it down between these two things, to me, helping people is so much more important than any amount of criticism that I might get, because I know I'll get more of it, you know, especially as I grow. So I kind of took the train all the way back to what we were talking last time. To circle back at survival, that's the reason why people have survival in the way that the human brain is wired, is the reason for the scaredness of creating content.
Well, that's a perfect answer. But actually, I remember my other question. It was very, very similar to the one I asked. But hear me out for a second. So, at least in academia, right? There's this kind of thing of always looking back to the greats, the classics, whether that be classical Roman, Greco-Roman, whether it be, you know, the ancient philosophers. I'm going to really talk about it in philosophy for a second, right? So I don't know if you're familiar with philosophy or not. I absolutely love it. And I wish I could read more if, you know, I just had more time. But really it's, what I found is there's almost like this, again, looking back to the classics, whether that be Plato, Aristotle, or if you're talking about, you know, even ethics, Kant, whatever, all that great stuff. And as we've kind of gone along, why do we continue talking about those things? Obviously, there's been some progression, right? But it's almost even like split off, right? Into different little subfields of philosophy. That isn't, essentially what I'm trying to say is we've almost, and this is not the correct word, but we've almost stagnated and focused in. Obviously, they're classics because they're great. But what I'm really trying to say is there, in a broad sense of content creation, I'm using that as a metaphor. So broadening back out again, do you think that there is almost, again, that there's a little bit of fear here, not just because of survival, not just because of leaving the pack, of being safe, but also in the sense of there's so much out there and there's probably someone that has done it better than I could ever do it. And so what's the point? You know, do you think that there's any credence to maybe that type of thinking?
Absolutely. And that's kind of one of the things that in that book I explained, Show Your Work, it shares. Because look, there's billions and billions of people that somebody's probably done it, right? But here's the thing, what if you have that one little twist that like finally gets to click in someone's mind? Right. You know, on top of that too, maybe that information that's out there doesn't necessarily get to that person that it was intended to, right? So ultimately, you're right, it probably is out there. But the thing is that if the people that still have yet to hear it and really need to hear it haven't gotten it, I doubt it'll probably find its way there. So.
And with that too, and this kind of goes again back into that broad sphere of academia, right? Whether you're writing a review paper on I don't know, but animal behavior thing. I'm just thinking animal behavior because that's what I want to do, right? Or if you're doing a review of a history paper, or if you're doing what I did, just yet another paper on the Vietnam War. Why even do it? But what if there's one thing, right, that's just a different way of thinking than anyone has done before, and you just don't know about that? Even if you read 20 books to prepare for one paper, right? That's what the average is saying. Yeah. But you have a new perspective on that.
Absolutely.
And so who knows if you might have an effect on one person or make a huge, astounding, ripple in that field. So there should be, no fear in the sense of there should be really people going after it and making content creation because you never know.
Yeah.
You never know who you can affect and you never know what is possible.
Absolutely. And I like to kind of transition a little bit from a point that you said. So you said, to prepare for one paper, I probably read like 20 books is what they say. Okay. And it leads to a point. Okay. Just think about it for 1 second. Out of everything that you know, how much of that is original to you?
Right.
That you came up with. And even here's the thing, when you think, oh, original idea was me, look back to your history, look back to your past. There's something that shaped it or something came together from all these different things, right? Yeah. So to get to the point, creating, let's look into like the technical. Okay, we talked content creation. Why am I scared of it? Why is it important to do? Okay, I want to start content creation. How can I do it? Because this is a big roadblock people hit.
Yeah.
You don't have to be original. Okay. Take a piece of content, take this Mark Twain quote. Okay. Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect. Take this and go ahead and add your own twist to it. That's all it is, right? Give your perspective on it. That's a piece of content right there. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
My perspective on it may not have reached you or somebody else, but maybe let's say Daniel's perspective on it probably maybe reaches you or whatever it is.
Or by us talking about it, it might reach something that's way clearer than the both of us could ever come up with on our own.
Absolutely. Creating content doesn't need to be you. It's taking inspiration or literally taking ideas and adding a slight twist to it.
I think it goes back to what you said, right? It's not about you. It's not about I'm an expert because we're not. It's more about what can I share about what I know and just add to the knowledge that's there.
Exactly.
Because again, we keep repeating it, but you never know what impact you may have. And if it's something completely, way off the rails and you get all that criticism for it, they're still talking about it, right?
Exactly.
So I mean, that's one way to look at it too. But yeah, anything else before we kind of move on to this next question?
Yeah, I think that when we talk about actual content creation, literally, so I'm pump out a decent amount of content. I'm even looking to do significantly more. Okay, what I do whenever I'm in anything, okay, if there is a piece of content like, wow, that's super insightful, I feel like people could actually benefit from like seeing this, listening to this, whatever it is, I take it and I put it into a database. Okay, the reason is, as I'm doing stuff, literally, it could just be a quote. It could just be a thought. It could be literally, if you go on my database where it is, it's literally a Google search that was like an autofill one. I'm like, wow, that's actually interesting.
Yeah, man, you showed it to me. It's really cool.
Right? Yeah. So the thing is, it's not a matter of that. It's just take the ordinary things in your life. What's quite funny is that literally, Daniel, while we were on the last interview, I don't know if you noticed, I was on my computer for like a couple seconds. I went in my production pipeline where I make my content and I put the idea in there because I didn't want to forget it. And I'm going to write a freaking blog about that, right?
What was the idea?
It was about global warming.
Okay, all right. That's awesome, man.
Perspectives. It's taking content that we've already created on this thing, but putting it in another form, adding my own little twist to it, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I can probably tell you that today, because I haven't talked about it in a while, this Mark Twain quote, that's going to go in my content production pipeline because I talked about it. Okay, the stuff that you talked about, or even the monkey stuff, even away from the group, that's probably going to go into it too.
That's amazing. I don't want to detract from the conversation that we're having,
switch
but Yeah, but really quick, just an aside, just
Chris
for you
talking
here.
too much. Chris talking too much.
No.
Get back on track.
No, no, no. I am gonna go to the next question, but there an aside just for you, Chris, is
Yes.
have you ever thought of being a philosopher, or at least dabbling in philosophy? Because I
I
know you're a very business-minded guy, and I love the database, but
uh,
you and I are very similar people. We love a
absolutely.
lot of the same things.
I love philosophy.
Yeah.
I love philosophy. I really do. Stoicism is one of my favorites.
Yeah. Okay.
That whole branch.
Yeah.
I don't read as much philosophy as I would love to.
Yeah. Same here.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
You know? But
Especially when it's the dense stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
so my ideal situation, obviously continue to grow businesses, but as I create a little bit more foundation and such, I would love to be able to dedicate more time in the day to do that. As of right now, I now have started kind of getting it back into my daily routine of an hour of personal development every day. I'd love to build it even more. Okay, because within that, it could be business, it could be philosophy. So little sidetrack on me, but
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
I agree with you.
Later on, my goal is to talk about, and again, this is another aside to the audience, but I wrote a paper last summer on ethics of animal behavior, on animal welfare. And I would love if I can spend an episode talking about that. Again, I don't want it to be lecture style, but I would absolutely love to do that later on. So why not, right? All right, let's go to the next question.
Let us know in the comments down below. Should Daniel do this? Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down. If you have a thumbs down, please be nice about it. Okay.
Thank you. Let's go on to the next question here. One of the final questions for today is, again, the theory of this kind of thinking of saturation. So we already talked about it a little bit before, right? It's, there's all this stuff. Someone's already done it before me. But kind of taking that and saying, okay, you've decided to do some content. You've decided to produce some content, whether it be a podcast like us or whatever. There's so much out there. How am I going to be found? What do you think that's a detractant from producing things? And if so, which I think we already know the answer to that, but can you talk about that a little bit? I want to hear your thoughts on that whole idea.
Are you familiar with the name Neil Patel?
I am.
So Neil Patel, one of the arguably top internet marketers in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
He had a great quote, and it basically said, if you're looking to create content simply for the fact of just being seen, you're doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So to answer your question, simply putting out content that is helpful to people, that can change people's lives over time, because it does take time. Right. There's a lot of stuff out there. You'll be found, you'll be appreciated. Okay, so it's a matter of, if you're really interested in creating content, creating something valuable, it's a matter of, okay, I'm just going to do it, but look at yourself. How can I improve? How can I better communicate? How can I better understand? Yeah, better connect with my audience to really share this important information. You know, because if you're sharing that information, you will be heard, you will be seen eventually. Yeah. Might take a while, but it will come. So
that's great. As we kind of, let's just start getting ready to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on content creation? I know we talked a whole bunch before the break, and now after the break we're talking with you. Any kind of last words?
I mean, one thing I take, because I love theory, don't get me wrong, but I'm very big into action. Okay, so anybody that's listening, one of my favorite quotes, Chris the Quote Man, one of my favorite quotes, knowledge is useless unless it is used, unless it is applied. Okay, so my point is, you've listened to this podcast, YouTube, whatever it is, okay, and you've learned something, hopefully. I hope so. Okay, the thing is, though, don't just leave this as knowledge. Just get started. I know you're like, but Chris, that's so scary. We talked about it. We broke it down. What is there to be scared about? Okay, and I'm not saying you need to go write a book tonight, right? It's a matter of, like, find that one thing. Maybe it's something that you learned here, and just post it on a social platform. Okay, just take little actions. That's how it all starts. And then from there, it can snowball if this is something that you really are passionate about. But as we part and kind of end this episode, take action with it. Like, actually start putting yourself out there. If you feel, wow, this might be for me, just go do it. Like, take action. and find a way to help improve this world, the whole objective of this podcast, in this whole thing here, the intelligent world. Go make the world a little bit more intelligent and actually put this knowledge to use, is what I would leave it with. So my recommendations. I'm not ordering, but I recommend highly.
Yeah, man. So I really appreciate your thoughts on this, but let's go ahead and just wrap up the episode now, and let's talk about this kind of big announcement before we kind of end the show.
Yeah.
Chris, my guy, my brother, thank you so much for being a part of this show so far. Unfortunately, you do have to kind of take a step back from us, but why don't you tell us why, if that's cool with you?
It's the same reason why we kind of been talking today. I am growing my personal brand and have a lot of stuff on my plate, and just really want to heavily focus on that for the time being. So is it bad? Maybe I'll give myself a shout out, the Chris Berry, on all platforms. Just go ahead and check me out. Check out some of my content. If you liked anything I said today, definitely, if you're not subscribed to the Intelligent World, come on, subscribe. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing while I'm taking a step back for now.
He will be definitely a part of our brand until the day this dies. Whether he's here as a full-time co-host or guest host, or just, not being able to actually participate, he will be here because he was a founding member. And honestly, just so grateful that not only, obviously we're still friends and we're going to continue to hang out when we can, but just thank you so much for doing this with me so far. And hopefully you'll find time to come back in the coming months, or even if it's next year or sometime. Hopefully this goes on for years and years and years, so we'll be able to do this forever. Regardless, look out for stuff that we're going to do together. We have big plans for a book. We have plans for different content. So he will be part of the Intelligent World till the day we die. So till the day we die. All right, man. Thank you so much. And let's wrap up the episode. So thank you for watching. This has been a great episode on content creation. This was definitely a great episode to have Chris on, and definitely a great episode to be your last episode, because you were just so awesome on this one. But again, thank you, man. And look out. Go ahead and shout yourself out again.
The Chris Berry.
Yeah, he definitely has a lot of great content, and I'm so excited to see everything that his brand is building. And especially because I'm going to rope him to start writing philosophy with me too. It's going to be another project. So anyway, continue to subscribe to us on the Intelligent World. Look us up on Instagram. Follow us wherever you listen to your podcast. Be sure to follow Chris on his personal business Instagram, as well as you're going to start putting out content as well, blogs and maybe a YouTube channel yourself and stuff like that in the future.
Stuff's already up. It's just a matter of kind of refining and making it a little bit stronger is what it is. So, and
he's working on his website. So continue to watch with us and hopefully subscribe to him stuff so you can look at both of our stuff together. Maybe we have another idea in the future and we can start, your brand and ours can start working together. We'll see, man. 100%. There's a lot of so many things we can do, but this is not the last you'll see of Chris Berry.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This is The Intelligent World. Have a good one. Bye.